Good afternoon, this is Kaplan Morrell, and I'm here at Kaplan Morrell on a beautiful Friday, although you couldn't see it because we're inside, of course. And it is soon. It's not quite summer solstice, but it will be soon. Today's topic, as you can see, is dressing for court, dressing for a hearing. Now, workers' compensation hearings are a little different than district court hearings, or especially federal district court hearings. They tend to be a little more informal, but we still often have, particularly if your hearing is down in Denver or in certain parts of the state, Glenwood Springs, I know they hold it in a courtroom, etc. Sometimes it will feel like a courtroom. Other places that you may go to hearing in, for example, Greeley, sometimes they'll do the hearings. Sometimes they'll do the hearings in a courthouse, which is what they're doing currently. For a long time, they used to do the hearings in the Student Union Center, and so we were kind of in a room, and it was kind of informal. But administrative law hearings in workers' compensation are very similar to court hearings, except for a few things. Number one is there's no jury. So it's not like you're going to be pulling in 6 to 12 people off the street, so to speak, to hear your claim. Number two, there's a judge, depending on the circumstances. Sometimes the judge wears the robe, sometimes not, but most of the time, particularly if it looks like a courtroom, the judge is going to put on a robe. The parties are seated at a table, there's a podium, there's a flag, there's a seal, etc. There's a judge, there's often a witness box. So in those situations or in those settings, it feels like a court hearing. There's not a court reporter, that's the person kind of sitting there doing the thing. It's recorded. So often, if we go to hearing, and I would say chances of you going to hearing, if you've got a case with an attorney, it's a serious case, chances of you going to hearing about 10 to 20% of the time. Most hearings resolve. At some point or the other, the parties resolve their differences and we avoid a hearing. But if you're one of the 10 to 20% that are going to hearing, often I'm asked, how do I dress? Now, I've got to dress in what I call my lawyer costume, which means suit and tie, and you know, I need to look, you know, nice and professional. I can't just show up in whatever. And I've always been a little torn what to tell my clients, because I don't want them, for example, really dressing up in their Sunday finest. Oftentimes I say to them, because it's a workers' compensation hearing, we're talking about your work and your employment, I recommend you come dressed as if you were going to work. However you know, if you have a uniform, if you have a mechanic's outfit with your name tag on it and everything, I recommend that you show up to work, to your workers' compensation hearing like that, okay? You do not have to show up in, professional suit and tie, etc., unless maybe that's how you go to work. The other thing that may affect how you dress for a hearing is if disfigurement is an issue. One of the benefits in workers' compensation is you get compensation for scars or atrophy, etc., braces, and you may need to show the judge that scar, that atrophy, etc., and that's going to require you to kind of take off clothing to be able to show a body part that has the disfigurement. And so if you've gussied up in a suit and tie or something with lots of straps, etc., that may not be the best choice. So typically I just tell clients, dress as if you were going to work, and maybe like a vice president of operations was going to come by and walk through and visit with everybody. That's perfect. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been doing a lot of hearings by video, and that sometimes has confused people because they think that maybe they don't have to dress up as nicely as they do. And the answer is, you still have to dress up just like you're going to court, at least from the waist up. Thanks very much. Thank you for spending part of your time with me, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.